Okay, let's manage some expectations real quick. If you're just here to see the funny and cool and awesome fusion sprites, this video is not for you. Only a handful of them will even appear throughout the tournament, and in fact, here's all of the ones that you'll see throughout the video right now in one place. I mean, that Gliscor Snorlax one is pretty cool, right? But that's it. You see, Pokemon Infinite Fusion got added to the online battle simulator Pokemon Showdown, including Gen 9 functionality and everything. And because there are so many possible fusions, most combinations do not have a custom sprite, and instead just appear as one of the two Pokemon on screen. But I'm not interested in sprites, and hopefully those of you that haven't clicked off the video yet aren't either. I'm interested in what fusion-based strategies the most talented competitive Pokemon singles player in the world can put together when chasing a $1,000 prize. This is why I hosted the Infinite Fusion Invitational. Are broken stall Pokemon like this unkillable Stack Attack a Slowking fusion with Regenerator going to prevail? Or will a hyper-offensive Pokemon like Extreme Speed Dragonite boosted by Alolan Golem Galvanize sweep through everyone's team? Or will this wild cheesy Mew strategy work? It turns out Clefairy comes back in. Dude, this thing is crazy. Bro, block, imprison, transform is so, but it can't do the full combo here. It's not bulky enough. It won't. That was the only time it came up in the tournament. Are the triple fusion Pokemon as broken as you imagined them when you first dreamed them up in 2nd grade? Let's find out together what the strongest fusions in this game truly are. Dude, this format is so sick. People just bring out like mons I've never seen before and randomly one-shot shit. Very exciting meta. Dude, it's down to a 1v1. Extreme Speed doesn't kill the Ogreora! Oh, Frosmolet has aromatherapy. Holy shit. He just cured 5 status conditions. Don't get too excited about fusing 2 legendaries together and making it the most obviously overpowered fusion ever. To keep things fresh, there is a banned list. Mostly, this matches up with the list of Ubers from Smogon's OU banned list. Most box legendaries like Groudon and Kyogre are banned, as are all the Arceus forms. Some obviously overpowered singles Pokemon like Palafin and Excalibur are on the banned list as well. Others are banned because they would specifically ruin a fusions format. Shedinja, that one should be obvious. Wonder Guard isn't even balanced on Shedinja, much less on a fusion. But there's also no Shuckle or Blissey, who have too much bulk when they aren't hamstrung by their poor attacking stats. Or Blissey's poor physical defense for that matter. Maybe most surprisingly, there is no Alakazam, but Magic Guard when combined with Zam's speed and special attack are busted. Busted enough that Kadabra is still one of the meta Pokemon in Infinite Fusion OU, one we saw plenty of times on stream throughout my tournament. Not broken enough to make the top 10 list though, which we're going to show on screen here to give you an idea of what this tournament's meta shaped up to be. Great Tusk and Dragonite were the true MVPs of this tournament, appearing on stream 13 times each. Great Tusk's one big weakness is its special defense stat, and pairing it with a more defensive Pokemon allowed trainers to create a bulky monster. One of the most common pairings was with Tornadus Therain. Is that how you pronounce Therain? One of the most common pairings was with Tornadus Therain. Therian. One of the most common pairings was with Tornadus T, giving trainers a bulky ground flying type that can also throw down huge damage. Sound familiar? Except this isn't Lando T at home, this is like Lando T in the Penthouse Suite. With moves like Roost and abilities like Regenerator now potentially at their disposal, these Great Tusk monstrosities had easy bake healing, the one thing Lando always lacked. And then there's Dragonite, here for 2 big reasons. That absurd 134 base attack and its access to extreme speed. Much like the ability to terrestrialize into a normal type and throw down ridiculously powerful stab extreme speeds has turned Dragonite into a top tier fusion in both Gen 9 singles and doubles, the ability to use fusions to make the most out of the extreme speed made it one of the most common Pokemon in this tournament. One of the highest profile matchups of the first round featured both of these mons, run by a couple of players who both had a chance to take the whole tournament. First, Finchinator, the leader of the Smogon Gen 9 OU Council. Few people have spent more time thinking about the modern Pokemon metagame. And second, Burrito, a mainstay of my various Pokemon tournaments. Burrito was one of the players I had my eyes on heading into the event. No matter what the format is, he's always insanely quick to adapt to it. I can't remember a time he entered my tourneys and didn't get top 3, and I said before the tournament even started that I thought he could do the same here. Both had their fancy Landorises, Finch with the Tornadus T Regenerator variant, and Burrito with a Buzzwole Roost variant. Only Burrito had the Dragonite though, and the Dragonite fusion he built turned out to be the MVP of the set. Drag Golem. The key with the Dragonite sets is how you take advantage of extreme speed, and Burrito found a brilliant way to do it through Alolan Golem. Nothing about Alolan Golem fixes the unremarkable stat spread of the original, and as a slow Pokemon with a 4x weakness to ground, it never really stood a chance in the modern metagame. It's currently sitting in PU for Gen 9 singles. But it brings one very important thing to the table that Cantonian Golem lacks: the hidden ability Galvanize. This ability, signature to the Alolan Geodude line, grants normal type moves a 1.2 times boost and then changes them into an electric type move. That means these moves, now used by an electric type, also gain stab, giving them an overall boost of 1.8. Dragonite with a 80 base power normal extreme speed is pretty good. Dragonite with a 144 base power electric speed, that's gonna hurt. We were already 44 turns into this game by the time Dragolem came out. Finch's seemingly unbreakable walls like Clefcoon, Clefairy plus Suicune, Tingby, Tinglu plus Celebi, and Dondotran, Dondozo plus Heatran, were holding up against Burrito's attempts to break through with Weavethur, a Weavile Scyther fusion, threatening ridiculously powerful stab technician beat-ups. With Slowtaka, Slowking Stakataka, and Rillastreer, Rillaboom Glastreer, Burrito had a pretty strong defensive core of his own. But as soon as Dragolem got into the game, it made its presence felt. When the Dragolem revealed Curse, Finch was in big trouble. It ate Tingby's Earthquake like nothing and swung back to take the game's first KO with Ice Spinner. Galvanize E-Speed then showed its power, dealing over half damage despite resistance to Finch's Zerorot. A Sleep Talk Roar from Finch's Dondotran only delayed the inevitable. With his Penthouse Landors burned, Finch had no answer for the Dragolem. It took advantage of chilly reception from Slowtaka to get back on the field, and before long, Finch was already down in the loser's bracket. Oh yeah, the bracket format. This was a straight up double elimination bracket, and due to time constraints, each match was a best of one. This wasn't the original plan, but it turned out to be for the best. There were a lot of Regenerator fusions in this format. Recall Alomomola on that top 10 list? Yeah, good luck killing those. And the situation we saw early in the game between Finch and Burrito, where neither side could break through the other's walls, was pretty common. But not every game was a stallfest, and the fact that even the slightest slip-up could open up an insanely powerful sweeper like Dragolem and instantly swing the game kept the players and the viewers on their toes. Moving on to another first round match, Michael de Besta and Sky Penguin's game saw each team with a Pokemon dead by turn 8. Sky's Azatails, Azelf plus Ninetales A, went down in the process of setting up an Aurora Veil, a strategy we saw a couple of players try to pull off with various degrees of success. Great Tusk fused with Hawlucha, Sky's version of the Great Tusk flying type fusion we saw so many times, was able to start setting up, but Michael's strongest wall, Gliscanion, was able to stop the sweep with a roar. Right from the start, Michael knew setup was going to be a problem and came equipped with answers. Just how strong of a wall was this Gliscanion? Not even a +2 headlong rush from Sky's Great Lucha was enough to take it out, and when that attempt to break the wall failed, Sky was the one on the back foot. Gliscanion took the KO with a Scald, using Headlong Rush's defense drop to get rid of Sky's scariest sweeper. Sky was eventually able to break through with his Togekiss plus Zapdos fusion, but there was still way too much firepower left on Michael's team. Remember how I said Kadabra was going to show up? Well, here it is. Magic Guard, it turns out, is a really strong ability. It's good enough to warrant using a not fully evolved Pokemon like Kadabra to enable strategies like this one. No Drawback Mind Blown is one of the best moves imaginable. Its 150 base power and perfect accuracy is supposed to be balanced by Blacephalon taking half damage every time it swings. With that gone, this is one of the scariest sweepers in the format. For the water types left to handle it, Michael had a perfect answer. Ogre-Rora, Wellspring Ogerpon plus Zeraora, a grass electric type that can both heal itself and dish out damage with Plasma Fists, which it did to lock down the win for Michael. With so many talented players in this tournament, even losers round 1 was bound to feature some strong players. Two of the favorites to win the tournament, YouTube singles legends Blunder and Freeze-Eye, faced off here, with Blunder taking the win. Sky Penguin and Finchinator also found themselves matched up down here. Both clearly learned a lesson from their first round matches. Dragonite is really good. Finch tried to make it work with Barraskewda, dropping insanely fast stab waterfalls behind Dragonite's attack stat, but it wasn't strong enough to break through Sky Penguin's new wall. Mandaloo. A Mandibuzz Tinglu combination. Not only is this thing insanely bulky, it had stab foul play to break through the opposing sweepers. Finch's team was designed for hyper offense, and the Mandaloo simply said no. Sky Penguin's own Dragonite fusion Dragorora finished the sweep, and Finch was also out at 13th. You still don't have a Christmas gift for your dad, do you? Or for your brother or brother-in-law or husband or other man in your life that you're just struggling so hard, your uncle, that your cousin, that you're still struggling so hard to think of a Christmas gift of. Well, channel sponsor Manscaped luckily has you covered right before the holidays with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. That's right, this package has every single Manscaped product that you can need and that you can love. It's got the main star of the show, the Lawnmower 5.0. This is the best version of this thing. You get the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Crop Smoother Aftershave in the box as well. Speaking of your dad's balls, they might be perfectly contained by another product in this box, which is the Manscaped Boxers 2.0. Some of the most comfortable boxers that I've personally ever worn. I love this product so much. If you're still looking for a holiday gift, manscaped.com/PokemonChallenges for 20% off this wonderful gift for someone in your life or yourself. Thank you so much for Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into it. Back in the winners bracket, we checked in on a round 2 matchup between Zav GC and Mind Gaming. This one took a while. Mind Gaming couldn't find a way to knock out Zav's Wall, his Annihilate, an insanely bulky Dragonite Annihilate fusion, and Mind had some pretty scary offensive Pokemon on his team, like Lupa, Lokix that can throw out its Tinted Lens first impressions behind Hoopa's Unbound insane 160 attack stat, but everything had just bounced off the Annihilate. Mind Gaming had a stronger wall, though, one we would be seeing all tournament long, Alomomola. Alomomola is a defensive tank with one of the biggest HP stats in the game and the ability Regenerator. In combination with the move Wish, which benefits from the huge HP stat, Alomomola has seen niche usage in Ubers since its release in Gen 6, even though it was RU in its debut generation. Pair it with Dual-Blade and Eviolite to patch up its weak special defense, and you suddenly have a nearly unbreakable wall. Even in the rare situation that it's actually threatened, it can just flip turn or raw switch out and regenerate lost health. When it looked like the Annihilate was going to take this game, Alomoblade's secret weapon came out and turned everything upside down. Alomoblade can't hit very hard, so you might be wondering how does it stop setup sweepers from just going crazy. Say thank you to the Infinite Fusion move tutors who bestowed a wonderful new move upon Dual-Blade. Not even the Swamped Tillicon, a triple fusion of the Gen 3 starters, could save Zav here. So if you're wondering why Alomomola and Dual-Blade made that top 10 list, here's your answer. They weren't always together, but Alomomola was one of the defining walls of this tournament. Once again, down in the bracket of alternative success, we checked in on Blunder, trying to keep the loser's run going against Punny. Both players saw a Rabombi angle, a Pokemon that has managed to find a niche in Ubers in both generations 7 and 9. There's 2 reasons why. Its fairy typing, and more importantly, its unique access to a blisteringly fast sticky web. That's exactly why Blunder brought it to this game, attached to Zeraora. On turn 8, he found a chance to get Sticky Web up. It may have cost Zerabombi's life, but it was worth it. Punny was able to stay in it for a while thanks to the power of Ursa-Score, another insanely strong ground flying type, but an extreme speed crit from Blunder's Dragoluna onto the Ursa-Core broke everything open. Anything Punny had that might have been able to stop the sweep needed to outrun it, and with the Sticky Web that just wasn't going to happen. Dragoluna got up to +4 attack and went to work, punching Blunder's ticket to the top 8. By this point, winner's bracket was chugging along, already down to the final 4. The first winner semis matchup pitted Luthier against Lily. This was Luthier's first time on stream, but we'd already seen Lily all the way back in the first stream match of the day. In that matchup against MNCMT, Lily's strategy revolved around Alolan Ninetales and its access to Snow Warning and Aurora Veil. With the protection of Veil, she was able to start setting up with her sweepers. Her first attempt at quiver dancing up to unstoppable levels was blocked by MNCMT's Gargashifu and its Salt Cure, which deals 25% of passive damage to steel types like Celebombi each turn. But Lily had another dancer, one uniquely capable of taking advantage of her snow. Frostmoking, a Frostmoth Nidoking fusion that could use the boost of Sheer Force to make the damage from even a +1 Blizzard, Ice Beam, or Earth Power extremely threatening. Not only was it taking KOs like nothing, it even managed to shrug off a stab E-Speed from MNCMT's Dragoluna. In winner semis, 2 rounds later, Lily went with a completely different approach, centered around an incredibly bulky Spike Spreader and Clefairy, and sweepers like Lupa and Snorlax plus Gliscor, that could take down foes in one hit after Spike's damage. It turned out that her opponent Luthier had a great answer to hazards, Great Core, another Penthouse Landorus with Gliscor as Great Tusk's partner. This one had Rapid Spin, keeping the spikes from Clefairy's Ceaseless Edge off the field. But Clefairy wasn't rendered useless despite Luthier's great hazard removal. Clefairy just kept on throwing down Moonblasts, and Luthier's team was quite fairy weak. Lycan Rillaboom, Lycanroc plus Breloom, and Araquaveil, Araquanid plus Quaquaveil, both had secondary fighting types and were weak to its Moonblasts. Lily was able to chip away until Luthier's special threats were eliminated, and once that happened, Snorscore was free to curse up until it was unkillable, pushing Lily into winners finals and making her the first player to guarantee a spot in the money. The prizes, there were $1,000 available in total, with $500 going to first place, $300 to second, and $200 to third. The second player to guarantee a spot in the money was about to be locked in. The winner of the next winner semis matchup between Mind Gaming and Burrito. Mind opened with a terrifying sweeper, Manaphy. A Manaphy-Comfey fusion that combined Manaphy's absurdly fast tail glow setup with Comfey's absurdly fast draining kisses, boosted to +3 priority by its ability Triage. That bulk and a priority healing attack has the potential to sweep a trainer that isn't ready for it, but Burrito was 100% ready. His Anamo King, another sheer force boosted special sweeper, put Manaphy in a terrible spot by dealing 70% with a single Moonblast. And then the coup de grace. Burrito sent in Hoop DD, activating Psychic Terrain and blocking the Manaphy from using any of its healing moves. With Stab Hyper Voice too scary to switch into, Mind decided to sack one of his strongest sweepers, giving Burrito an early lead. He was able to work his way back into the game, with some hazard stacking and the sheer walling power of Alomomola Blade, once again serving as the defensive wall. Great Core was able to get up rocks, and Skelelu set up multiple layers of spikes. It wasn't until over 40 turns into the game that Burrito was finally able to clear the Ghost-type spin-blocking Alomomola Blade and then get rid of the hazards. This put the two into full stalemate mode. With Burrito's walls of Dondo's Wall, Dondozo Buzzwall, and Tornad Treads, Tornadus T Iron Treads, staring down Mind's Skelelu and Great Core. Burrito's Anamo King would prove to be the MVP, the only one in this game capable of breaking through the walls. It caught Mind's Indeedalient on the switch with its super effective Moonblast, and then broke things wide open when a critical hit took out Great Core. With the plot armor he always seemed to have in my tournaments, Burrito was the second one to guarantee himself a spot in the top 3. And the money. With winner's final set, let's quickly run through the action in loser's bracket. ZavGB eliminated Malekith in the game that Blasabra shined the brightest. Its Mind Blown couldn't KO Kafaxire, but with the Focus Sash it got a second chance and ran with it, doing the majority of the work in ZavGB's win. People got really creative with moves that enhanced normal type moves. Using stuff like Galvanize and Pixelate to make Dragonite's extreme speed go crazy was the most common way, but Temp6T busted out a unique one in his loser's top 8 match against Blunder. It was Silvern, which took Noivern's ridiculously fast boom bursts and boosted them to absurd levels with Sylveon's Pixelate. It was so strong it nearly one-shotted Blunder's Tornad Threats and shredded his Porycephalon, the clear MVP, as Temp ended Blunder's run through the loser's bracket. Now in top 6, Temp went with a much more defensive approach against Mind Gaming, with the game swiftly devolving into a PP stall between each side's Mandazing. In a matchup that felt like straight out of Gen 2 OU, it was a matter of whose defenses would crumble first. It looked like it'd be Temp as his Tornad Treads got hit by a massive Volt Switch from Mind's Indeedora, but it survived on 1%, allowing it to regenerate. But it wasn't enough. 11 turns later, it dropped to an Expanding Force, and Temp just didn't have the firepower or resources to stop Mind from advancing to top 4. On the other side of the losers bracket, ZavGB was facing off against Luthier, looking to stay in the tournament despite falling into losers all the way back in round 2. This one also took a while for progress to be made. Good luck making a dent in stuff like Ursipix and Alomomola Blade. Zav was doing a great job of grinding Luthier down with status, but it looked like Luthier was going to turn it around when he revealed Aromatherapy on his Frosmolet. Unfortunately though, he didn't have as good of an answer for Gargarood's combination of big damage and Salt Cure. Although it wasn't taking KOs, Gargarood kept forcing switches and knocking off items. Finally, on turn 55, ZavGB was able to open up his Excadrill plus Kyurem Black, for a Swords Dance, and after 1 KO, Luthier had seen enough and waved the white flag. And then there were 4. First, Lily and Burrito fought for the right to play Grand Finals on winner's side. Making it to Grand Finals through winners grants a huge advantage. You only need to win 1 game, where the player who arrives in Grands through losers must win twice. That's what makes it double elimination. One of the most interesting things about this tournament was seeing how teams evolved throughout. As is the case for standard Smogon play, players were able to switch up their teams between rounds. Because these players were mostly learning the format on the fly, this allowed players to learn and evolve their strategies as the tournament went on. It also allowed Burrito to scout. In round 2, Lily used a ridiculously specialized Sun team to defeat Temp6T. The Sunsetter was Iron Coal, a nearly unkillable Iron Hands Torkoal combination. This team had so many ways to exploit the Sun. Against Temp6T, it was Cerulean, Ceruledge taking advantage of Leafeon's Chlorophyll and Grass typing, and Venus Toizard, a triple fusion of the Gen 1 starters that eventually crushed Temp's team. Lily presented the same exact 6 Pokemon from her round 2 win over Temp. Burrito needed an answer to the Sun if he wanted any chance to stop the solar-powered steamroller that was Lily's team the last time we saw it. On turn 1, he showed he had exactly that. Celestellaper, using Pelipper's Drizzle and Celesteela's amazing defensive profile to power a rain team. We had a weather war on our hands. Or we would have if Lily's Nihishocks, Nihiligo plus Sandy Shocks, hadn't dealt a ridiculous 85% to Celestellaper with a surprise Power Herb Meteor Beam to open the game. That was enough damage to guarantee Celestellaper would faint on entry against Stealth Rocks, which Lily Sunsetter Iron Coal was able to do before Celestellaper could return to the field. The weather war was over before it could start, and Lily needed only 17 turns to lock up that coveted winner's side spot in Grand Finals. It would have been fascinating to see what Burrito's rain team could have done, especially the terrifying Araquanid plus Arctovish, which could threaten water bubble boosted Fishious Wrens, the kind of nonsense that had Dracovish on the banned list. But that would have to wait for Grand Finals. And to get there, we'd have to get past the winner of Mind Gaming and ZavGB, a rematch from all the way back in Winners Round 2. Alomomola was Mind Gaming's unbreakable wall in that game, and he went back to it again for the rematch. Zav went with a different approach, trying a sticky web angle behind Masquerape plus Annihilate. A huge crit took down Zav's Rillastrier for a much earlier KO than we saw in the previous match. Not only did this give Mind Gaming a Pokemon advantage, it also removed ZavGB's ability to make optimal use of his back Pokemon Metalucha. The plan for this fusion is to proc Hawlucha's Unburden on the grassy terrain set by Rillastrier. With no good opportunity to switch in and the Alomomola still there to deny the setup, Zav was essentially down 2 Pokemon now. He was forced to sack the Metalucha before long. The Alomomola loomed over the entire battle. Not even a +4 V-Grade from Zav's and Luna, Ante Ursaluna, could put a dent into it. Things looked rough for Zav, but there was still a chance, thanks to his Manaphy and the Sticky Web on Mind's side of the field. On turn 31, Zav gets an opportunity to Tail Glow with his Manaphy. The only thing that can switch in on it is Alomomola, but by this time, Zav has finally dealt enough damage to pin it.
After Stealth Rock, Galilou can't even live 2 hits, or might not be able to live 1 hit from Blacephalon either. I think that Zav has kind of checkmated him.
It's really good for Zav. With that come from behind win, Zav claimed the final spot in the money. Now it was time to determine who would take home what prize. Burrito was aiming for the run back against Lily, but he needed to take down Zav first. He aimed for a quick sweep, throwing out Arctozolt Weavile, and getting off a Swords Dance on turn 4. It took down Zav's Shaymora before getting huge damage even through resistance onto Alamosire and Clefairy. It wasn't enough to do the job itself, but it chipped down Zav's walls just enough so that Burrito's second sweeper, the familiar Frosmo King, was able to shred the rest of Zav's team after just 1 Quiver Dance. It was a spirited run from Zav. His win streak of 4 through loser's bracket was the longest of the tournament, and it earned him a cool $200. But there was still one final match to determine who would win the $500 first prize. Burrito would have to take 2 straight sets over Lily, but just 1 win from Lily would lock up the tournament for her. Burrito threw the rain idea in the trash and went with some of the proven good stuff from the tournament. A fancy Landorus, Great Tusk plus Buzzwole, Dragolem, an MVP from all the way back in round 1, Rillastrier and Slowtaka as a defensive core, and Enamelon and Weavethur as sweepers. And they barely got to play at all. Lily went for a strategy resembling her round 1 win over M and CMT, a Ninetales Alolan fusion to set up Aurora Veil for a cast of setup sweepers. It took a while for Lily to break through in that one. This time, she had a solution for this problem. On turn 5, after getting the Veil up, she unleashed the secret weapon.
And now suddenly, the Frostmoth, Final Gambit.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful,
Oh, that's smart.
It's just a suicide lead for Aurora Veil, yeah. This Ninetales Alola plus Frostmoth combo is so okay. It's actually going to be.
This kind of wins too.
We'd mostly seen Comfey attached to Manaphy in this tournament, but there's another legal Tail Glow user in the format, Ampharos. This fusion still takes advantage of Triage, but doesn't just get access to Draining Kiss from Comfey. In Infinite Fusion, Ampharos gets access to Parabolic Charge, and with an even more powerful stab healing attack at its disposal, there was no stopping this thing after it boosted to +3. Hyper Offense reigned supreme. And so did Lily, who not only won this tournament, but did it with several fascinating and completely different team concepts. With her flawless run, she more than earned the $500 grand prize. And while Burrito couldn't quite close it out, he remains absurdly consistent in my tournaments, no matter what format I'm running, and took home $300 for his troubles. Whatever we do next, anybody who's seeded into him should be quaking in their boots. This tournament brought even more hype than I expected. Despite the ridiculous power level fusions bring to the table, the players I invited were able to find ways to stop the most explosive sweepers and break the most sturdy walls, maintaining a solid balance of offense and defense throughout the bracket. This metagame is kinda crazy. Let's hope we get to see more of it.